Welcome to If I Only Had 10 Minutes. I'm Jane Randall, one of the partners at Comms Collective, and I'm thrilled to be here with Lindsey O'Neill. Lindsey, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Lindsey O'Neill. I have the honor and privilege of leading communications and public affairs and marketing right now for USAA. First and foremost, I'm a wife and a mom of two active boys. I always say, if you can't find me in the office, I'll probably be on a baseball field or on a basketball court. But a little bit about myself, I say I have a passion for data and a heart for communications. I actually started my career in business intelligence and analytics
Wow.
and was asked one day, hey, have you ever thought about a career or a job in communications? And I was like, no, I have not. And here I am 25 plus years later as a CCO here at USAA. So non-traditional kind of communications path, grew up in business intelligence and analytics, grew up in a family that had a heart for service. That stuck with me my entire leadership career of giving back and making something better than I found it. And then
Yeah.
here at USAA, we use military terms quite a bit. So I've gone on different deployments during my 12 plus years here at USAA and operations, chief of staff, and then, of course, in communications.
Well, let's get started. How do you think AI is changing what it means to be a great communicator?
Oh, goodness. I think anything I say on AI is relevant for today and not tomorrow.
Understood.
However, it's moving super fast. Look, for myself, my team, and I think many of us, AI is taking really the day to day off our plates. If you think about the ability to take a massive amount of information, synthesize it, take a first draft, summarize things for us. That's on the content side. On the creative side, it allows us to take a first pass at, creative. And so much now is about snackable content. It can help us get to kind of those salient points. But it also raises the expectations because we have that off our plate because we have additional time. For communicators, we're not just writing messages anymore. We're having to connect to the business priorities. We're having to integrate different things. We're having to understand stakeholder sentiment and having AI give us that additional foundation and that additional time
Mhm.
is really not about writing faster. It's about allowing us to think better and more and differently. So yes.
That's great. That's a really interesting take on it. We talk a lot amongst the partners about sort of the way comms has changed, and especially during COVID, I think you saw, to me, comms was the hub of that wheel, right? I mean, I think there was all these decisions being made, but somebody had to help get it out there, and somebody had to take it all in and synthesize it, and that was always comms. So,
Yeah.
um,
In
I
COVID, there was a vacuum of interaction, and comms had to fill that space in so
yes.
many ways.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
really good way to say that. Yes. What's one question then you think that communicators should be asking more right now?
Oh, goodness. Just one. I think it's about like, are our messages resonating? Are they driving impact? Um, you know, we talk a lot about message or communication metrics.
Hmm.
Did it resonate? How many clicks or engagement did we
Right,
get?
right, right.
But I think we should really be asking, like, have we moved the behavioral needle or have we moved the business priority forward? And
Right.
sometimes, with my data hat on and my comms heart aside, it's about connecting correlation causation. It doesn't mean that we're saying this communication drove this retention or this communication absolutely drove X amount of, products or growth purchased. But we have to push ourselves to ask questions differently and to also think about how we sometimes tag our content and our communications differently so we can see that pull through and
Right.
then understand and recognize timing of communications, personalization of communications, and then the behavior change, that can drive.
Right. Wow. It's really, I can see the combination of data and comms in you. It's so clear. It makes so much sense.
My team
Um,
loves it.
Fractional work has gone from niche to normal. How do you see this shift changing the comms industry?
Yeah, you and I have spoke a lot about this. Look,
Yeah.
I think there's still a lack of information or understanding, quite frankly, on fractional work. And I I truly believe we're exploring this. We're talking a lot about this here and my team and at USAA about, can this make communications or a team more modular?
Hmm.
All of us, resources. I don't think you've probably spoke to any CCO where they're like, oh, I have budget for days and resources abundant. It's like growing on trees. That's not happening.
Right.
Typically, we're always prioritizing. But it's important that for us internally, we could keep that strong core and that expertise aligned to our businesses,
Hmm.
but then also be able to pull in fractional work or fractional communicators, strategic communicators. I think for us, what we're thinking about is like, where would a fractional support or work or leader come in and really add value to our team? And that's in what I call kind of critical moments or moments that matter. They shine in transformation, culture changes that you're trying to drive, leadership transition. That's where you and I had
Yeah.
quite a few conversations recently as we welcomed our new CEO. But they can bring really a seat and a mindset of, I've been there, I've walked in your shoes, here's what to do, here's what not to do.
Hmm.
But also they're not beholden to internal policies or
Right.
politics or
Right.
legacy biases. So they can be these true expert truth tellers that come in and really help add value quickly, like I said, without kind of that persistent
No.
overhead.
Right. Well, on that note, what's the hardest communications decision you've ever had to advise a leader on?
I think it's really about, it's almost always about timing, when to speak, when not to speak, and how quickly to speak. We were just chatting about this as we were setting up for the podcast, but especially in such a divisive world, socio kind of political moments that we have, advising on how fast do we communicate, because the first field intel is never accurate or it's
Right.
not complete ever.
Right.
And in these moments, typically emotions are high.
Yeah.
People want to act. They feel this sense of urgency, but that also means that the reputational stakes are real.
Hmm.
And at USAA, authenticity of our message and our brand is so important. But striking that right balance is really sometimes a really tough decision, and it's not always based in facts and data. Uh, and silence can also create, if you wait too long, silence can also create this vacuum where
Yep.
others will fill the void for you, and that's also a risk to your reputation and brand. So speaking too soon is hard to unwind. I'm waiting for all the data, then there's a vacuum of silence, and
Right.
that too will be judged. So it's those moments that demand kind of, as a CCO and as a communicator, you understanding and having that kind of trust your gut feeling of and being able to advise senior leaders who are really pushing and pressing for something different to take a beat,
Yeah.
take a pause, and just sit a little uncomfortable in the moment so that
Yeah.
we don't get it perfect, but we can get it right.
I love what you just said about sitting uncomfortably in the moment because people are, um, we have to learn how to do that, right? We have to learn how to be, sometimes you have to be a little bit uncomfortable before you get to the right place. So I think
Yes.
that's cool. Last question for you. Although, like you said, we could go on for a very long time. Sometimes I want to do it if I only had 10 and then do the stamp 15 minutes because I want to like talk
Yeah.
to people longer. Um,
Encore, one more.
exactly, exactly. So if you had an extra 10 minutes in your day, what would you do with it?
I'd follow my leadership motto, which is family first. And I always tell my team and try to tell myself, no one's perfect, but as a working mom and a wife,
Hmm.
family matters. And if you don't have children or family, what's important to you. You'll
Right.
never regret a decision in family. But, 10 extra minutes in my day means that the boys, my husband and I can crawl up on the couch. We can turn our spurs on. We can cheer loudly. We can put on a show. We can just chat about anything, but kind of that sense of family time is where I would
Mhm.
put those 10 minutes. It fills my heart, fills my bucket more than anything.
That's awesome. Lindsay, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jane. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.